So if you've ever opened a blank spreadsheet on a Monday morning and spent 3 hours writing a program you should have finished in 45 minutes, this video is for you. And not because you don't know enough exercises, and not because you need a better template. The problem isn't what you know, it's the order you're applying it in. In this video, I'm going to show you the 5-question sequence that replaces the blank page, and why answering those questions in order is the only thing that separates a coach who programs in 45 minutes from one who programs in 3 hours. A few months ago, I ran a live lightning lesson, and I asked a simple question at the start. What makes program design take so long? And the answers came in fast. Choosing exercises, not knowing what goes together, decision fatigue, staring at a blank template, starting over from scratch every time. Nobody said I don't know enough about physiology, and nobody said I need more certifications. Every answer was some version of the same thing, standing at the start of the process with no clear first step. And I've been there. I mean, for years, I was there. When I was at Munster Rugby managing over 60 players, I knew exactly what each person needed. The intellectual work was never the hard part. The hard part was sitting down and translating it into a program. Every cycle, from scratch for 60 people. What I kept running into wasn't a knowledge problem, it was a sequencing problem. I was starting in the wrong place. Here's what most coaches do, and I did it for years. You sit down with a new client or athlete, you think about who they are, you think about their goal, and then you open the template and you start thinking about exercises. Here's the secret. Exercises do not equal individualization. They help individualize a program. The exercise is the last decision, not the first. And starting there is like trying to build a house by choosing the furniture before you've laid the foundation. The program looks full and it might even look good, but it didn't come from a system, it came from instinct. And instinct doesn't scale. It doesn't produce consistent results across different clients, and it costs 3 hours every time. Here's what I learned. Eventually, from managing large rosters and coaching in environments where starting from scratch wasn't an option. Program design is not exercise selection. Program design is stress distributed intelligently over time. The exercises are how you apply the stress, but the stress distribution has to be the first part. And that design comes from answering 5 questions in sequence before you open the template. Lesson 1, program design starts with context, not goals. The first question isn't, what does this person want to achieve? The first question is, who is this person and what does their life actually look like? Training age, available days, facility access, lifestyle stress, occupational demands, sleep, their family situation. Context determines stress tolerance, not the other way around. The most common mistake I see, and I made it for years, is designing for an abstraction. For a generic athletic person with ideal recovery conditions and full availability. Here's the problem with that. A 35-year-old with 2 kids, a full-time job, and 3 days a week to train is not a 24-year-old college athlete. Programming them as one isn't individualization, it's applying a template to a name. The research makes this uncomfortable. 63% of gym members say they don't feel like programs are written for them. Not 63% of difficult clients, 63% across the board. And the reason isn't exercise selection. The exercise choices are usually fine. The reason is that context first, always. Lesson 2, choose one weekly priority, not a list of goals. Once you have the context, the second question is not, what do they want to achieve? It's, what is the one thing driving this week? So not goals plural, priority singular. Make it simple and create 4 options. Strength, hypertrophy and lean mass, conditioning, movement and coordination. One of those drives the week. The other 3 exist in service of it. Here's what happens without this step. You have a client who wants to develop strength and reduce body fat and improve their conditioning and address some movement quality issues. So you try to develop all 4 simultaneously with equal weight in every session. When everything is a priority, nothing is. The program stalls, the client feels beat up, and the results are inconsistent. And you blame the programming when the real issue was never establishing a primary direction. Let me show you what this actually looks like. That 35-year-old from earlier has a strength plus fat loss goal, 3 days per week, moderate lifestyle stress. As an example, let's make the weekly priority strength. Fat loss is a desired outcome, but it cannot be the weekly driver without competing with strength adaptation. We support fat loss through the program structure, we don't make it the engine. That single decision, choosing strength as the priority, has already answered dozens of downstream questions you haven't even asked yet, and we'll get to those in a moment. Lesson 3, map the stress before you choose the exercise. Once you have the priority, the stress distribution follows logically. You either have high stress, medium stress, or low stress. Where do they actually fall across the week, and why is what you're answering. For that 35-year-old with a strength priority and 3 training days, high Monday, medium Wednesday, high Friday. 2 high effort exposures for that strength stimulus. The medium day in the middle drops intensity and takes on a hypertrophy structure to support body composition. So we're not adding low intensity, high volume conditioning that competes with Friday's high output. That map, high Monday, medium Wednesday, high Friday, tells you more about what the program actually is than every exercise decision combined. You now know the load on each day, the intensity curve across the week, and the recovery windows, what the medium day is actually for, and what gets removed from the program entirely. Conditioning that spikes metabolic fatigue the day before or after high strength, gone. Heavy bilateral loading on the medium day that competes with Friday's maximal force expression, gone. Subtraction is a design decision. The coaches who don't make it are the ones whose programs look full but don't produce. These 3 questions, context, priority, and stress, are the 3 steps in what I call the decision filter. I built this tool out of a sequencing problem. After years of starting with exercises and working backwards, I needed something that would force the right order of decisions before the template opened. The decision filter takes you through 5 questions in sequence. Each answer narrows the next set of options automatically. By the time you reach exercise selection, most of the decisions have already been made, not by instinct, but by the logic of the sequence. Here's what it looks like with a real example from a recent lightning lesson that I just delivered. You have a youth speed athlete, so 13 to 15 years old, 2 days per week, full gym access. The priority is speed development. Question 1, context. Young, 2 days, full access, moderate lifestyle stress, training age 2 to 4 years. Question 2, priority, speed, not strength, not conditioning. Speed, because that's the one quality driving the entire training block. Question 3, stress map. He has 2 days. Both days are high effort, but the emphasis changes. Day 1 leads with speed work, and day 2 leads with a lift that supports the speed work, not the other way around. Question 4, what gets protected? And this is critical. We have to protect the element driving adaptation from competing stressors. What gets protected here is neural freshness. So long conditioning sessions and heavy bilateral loading that eat into the capacity for quality speed work, both are removed or minimized. And by knowing that, programming their strength work just got easier. Question 5, first decision of day 1. In this case, reactive plyometric work, specifically reactive capacity drills, not volume-based bounding, because acceleration and change of direction require intensity of ground contact, not accumulation of contacts. And that choice between intensity-driven plyometrics and volume-driven plyometrics was made because of both the priority and the context, specifically here, their training age. That sequence took 4 minutes. The program design was largely complete before a single exercise was selected. That's not talent, that's architecture. I often talk about being a technician and the badge of honor that we as coaches wear when given this title, but it's time for a shift. The technician sits down with a blank template and starts thinking about exercises. They rely on their experience and their instinct both in design and delivery. The program is often good and it's sometimes excellent, and it took 3 hours because every client triggers a full decision tree from scratch. And without a system, nothing from the last client informs the next one. The architect runs the 5 questions in sequence and answers them in order, has the architecture before the template opens. So the same knowledge, but a different process. The result isn't just faster, it's more consistent, so it scales. It means the 10th client is as well programmed as the first because the decision system, not the coach's available bandwidth, is doing the structural work. Technicians react, architects design. Slow programming isn't a knowledge problem. It never was a knowledge problem. It's a sequencing problem. Starting with the wrong question in the wrong order and then building from there. The 5 question sequence doesn't replace your expertise. It creates the conditions for your expertise to work efficiently every client, every Monday, without starting from scratch. If you want to build this system for yourself, so the full decision filter, the stress mapping framework, and the weekly architecture tool, the June 22nd workshop is where we do it. It's not a lecture, it's a build session. Click on the link in the description for more details and hit that subscribe button to continue the conversation.